YN sat in the dimly lit hospital room, the rhythmic beeping of the machines echoing in her ears, punctuating the heavy silence that surrounded her. Jungkook lay motionless in the bed, his face pale, almost ethereal, under the harsh fluorescent lights. She had been here for hours, and the sight of him so still, so lifeless made her heart ache in a way she never thought possible. Tears streamed down her cheeks, hot and unrelenting. YN, Jungkook, please wake up, she whispered, her voice trembling with desperation. YN, I need you. I can't do this without you. They had built a life together over the past 2 years, filled with laughter, warmth, and a love that felt like it could conquer anything. But after the car accident, that life hung by a fragile thread, and YN felt herself unraveling with each passing moment. Suddenly, his eyelids fluttered, her heart raced. YN, Jungkook, she exclaimed, leaning closer, her breath catching in her throat. As his eyes opened, confusion clouded his gaze, and YN held her breath, hoping for even a flicker of recognition. Jungkook, where am I? He murmured, his voice hoarse and foreign. YN, you're in the hospital. You had an accident. YN replied, her heart pounding with hope. YN, I'm here. Jungkook, it's me. He blinked, looking at her as if he were trying to place her, his brow furrowing with concentration. Jungkook, YN, he repeated, the name hanging in the air like a question mark. She felt a flicker of hope ignite in her chest, but then it faded when he added, Jungkook, I don't remember. YN's heart shattered at his words, each syllable stabbing her deeply. YN, you don't remember anything? Our life together? Her voice cracked, anguish spilling over. Jungkook, I'm sorry, he said softly, his expression filled with regret. Jungkook, I just can't remember. YN felt as if the ground had been pulled from beneath her. YN, we've been together for 2 years. We love each other. Jungkook, you can't just forget that. Her voice was rising now, filled with a mix of anger and sorrow. He looked away, shame and confusion mingling in his eyes. Jungkook, I wish I could remember. Days turned into weeks, and YN was a fixture in his hospital room, her heart clinging to the hope that one day he would recall the love they had shared. But with every visit, she felt the weight of despair grow heavier. Jungkook was not the same. He was a stranger wrapped in the familiar contours of her life. Each day felt like a new battle. YN brought photographs, played videos of their best moments, and shared stories of their adventures. But nothing seemed to ignite a spark of recognition. Instead, he would sit quietly, his brow furrowing in concentration, only to shake his head in defeat. YN, why can't you remember? She cried one night, frustration mixing with desperation as she gripped his hand tightly. YN, I thought we meant something to you. Jungkook, I don't know, he shouted back, anguish filling his voice. Jungkook, I want to remember, but it's like there's a wall in my mind. The more he struggled, the more YN's heart broke. She watched helplessly as he tried to create a new normal, navigating through life without her. It felt like he was slipping away, and she was powerless to stop it. As the weeks turned into months, Jungkook began attending therapy sessions. YN encouraged him, trying to bolster his spirit, clinging to the hope that one day he would remember. Yet, with each passing day, she felt him slipping away from her grasp. He started to engage with the world around him in a way that made her feel invisible. One evening, she found him laughing with a nurse named Luna. The warmth in his voice twisted something deep inside her. It was a sound she had missed, but it felt so foreign coming from him. It was like he had found joy in the midst of his pain, just not with her. Jungkook, can we talk? She asked, her heart racing as she approached them. Jungkook, sure. He replied, turning to her with that same polite smile that felt both familiar and alien. Jungkook, what's up? Can I have a moment alone? She requested, her voice barely steady, feeling vulnerable under his gaze. Luna excused herself, leaving the two of them in an uncomfortable silence. YN felt her heart pounding, torn between longing and fear. You seem happy with her, she said, trying to mask her pain. Jungkook? Yeah, she's nice, Jungkook replied, oblivious to the hurt in her words. Jungkook, she makes things easier around here. Easier, YN repeated, her voice rising. You don't even remember who I am, Jungkook. How can you be happy? Jungkook, I don't know, he replied, his eyes clouded with confusion. Jungkook, I feel like something's missing, but I don't know what. The walls felt like they were closing in on her. It's me, Jungkook. I'm the one who's always been there for you. Don't you want to try and remember? Her voice cracked, desperation bubbling to the surface. Jungkook, I'm sorry, I wish I could feel the same way, he said, his voice filled with regret. Jungkook, but I can't keep holding on to something I can't remember. Days turned into weeks and YN watched helplessly as Jungkook's relationship with Luna blossomed. The laughter that once belonged to her was now shared with someone else. Each time she saw them together, a piece of her heart crumbled, turning her love into an ache she couldn't ignore. One night, she found herself outside the hospital, staring at the stars, wishing on every single one that Jungkook would remember her. She had tried to be strong, but the pain was relentless. It consumed her thoughts, making even the simplest tasks feel monumental. Meanwhile, Jungkook was caught in a whirlwind of confusion and newfound emotions. He would spend hours with Luna, sharing meals and stories, but in the quiet moments, he would feel an inexplicable void. Something deep inside him whispered that he was missing a piece of himself. One evening, while rummaging through old boxes in his apartment that his family had brought in, Jungkook stumbled upon a dusty diary. Curiosity piqued, he opened it, his heart racing as he recognized the familiar handwriting. It was his detailing his thoughts and feelings about YN. Their moments together, their dreams. Jungkook, I love her so much. She's my everything. One entry read, and Jungkook's breath hitched. Jungkook, I don't want to lose her. I want to build a future with her. The words struck a chord deep within him. The emotions poured out of the pages, awakening memories he thought were lost forever. Jungkook, this was me, he whispered to himself, tears welling in his eyes. Jungkook, I loved her. The realization hit Jungkook like a tidal wave. He needed to find YN to tell her how he felt before it was too late. That night, under a blanket of stars, he ran to her apartment, his heart pounding with urgency and fear. What if it was too late? He knocked frantically on her door, the sound echoing through the quiet night. When she opened it, surprise washed over her face, her eyes widening in disbelief. YN, Jungkook, what are you doing here? She asked, her voice a mix of shock and hope. Jungkook. Why and I? He gasped, tears streaming down his face. Jungkook. I remember everything. Her eyes filled with tears, hope and confusion swirling within them. Why, and what do you mean? Jungkook. I found my diary. I read how much I loved you. How much I wanted to be with you, he confessed, his voice breaking as he stepped closer. Jungkook. And I realize now that nothing in this world could ever replace you. Wyan's heart soared and shattered all at once. Why, and but you were moving on. You were happy with Luna. Jungkook. I was lost, Wyan. I thought I could find happiness in forgetting. He cried, stepping closer still, his desperation palpable. Jungkook. But all I felt was emptiness. You're the only one who ever made me whole. As he pulled her into a tight embrace, she felt the weight of the world lift from her shoulders. Why, and I never stopped loving you, Jungkook. I waited for you every day, she whispered, her voice muffled against his shoulder. Jungkook. I'm so sorry for hurting you, he whispered back, his breath warm against her hair. Jungkook. I love you, Wyan. I love you so much. In that moment, they stood together, the world fading away. The walls that had kept them apart crumbled, replaced by a connection that was stronger than ever. They had weathered the storm, and now they could begin anew. In the months that followed, Jungkook and YN worked diligently to rebuild their relationship. Each day was a step forward, filled with laughter, love, and a newfound appreciation for each other. They took time to explore the places that held memory sparks where they had